Es bleiben im Raum Keitel, Jodel, Krebs und Burgdorf. Das war ein Befehl! Der Angriff Steiners war ein Befehl!
Mein Führer, was Sie da sagen, ist ungeheuerlich.
Die Generalität ist das Geschmolz des deutschen Volkes. Von Jahren alle höheren Offiziere liquidieren zu lassen, wie Stalin! Aber wenn Sie, meine Herren, glauben, dass ich deswegen Berlin verlasse, irren Sie sich gewaltig.
Hi folks, and much like Cheese and Biscuits, West Ham an injury crisis, it is Mike and a Monday, therefore it's Mike on Monday. But thanks for joining us. Let's have a look at what happened at West Ham last week. Let's go, let's have a look. No, you must look again. I know it hurts, but let's look again. Well folks, what a week it was. It started with news about us welcome as a new release by Simply Red when we found out that both Marko Arnautovic and Manuel Lanzini will be missing with injury for a number of weeks, therefore depriving David Moyes of the one-on-one of his favourite 8-1-1 formation and us of any attacking threat whatsoever. David Sullivan responded by saying that he's working tirelessly night and day to bring in new signings to the club, which is great news, except we don't really believe it. However, one Juan Mario did sign for the club at last, much touted arrival on loan for the rest of the season from Inter Milan. Juan arrived and said, and I'm quoting here, he is delighted to be playing at our wonderful stadium, therefore showing a sense of irony very well developed for someone from Portugal who's never really lived in the UK before, or that he was shown a picture of Upton Park before he signed. On Saturday, of course, we know what happened on Saturday. We went out of the FA Cup, losing 2-0 away at Wigan. Let's go over to the Tactics Centre. Mike's over there today. We were going to have Michelle, but she's just too upset about everything that happened on Saturday. But Mike's going to have a look at the Tactics Centre and take us through, tactically anyway, what happened on Saturday. Mike, take it away. Thanks, Mike. West Ham were away at Wigan in the FA Cup, and as you can see, the team laid down and rolled over for Wigan, and Wigan playing with the front two there easily cut through our team to beat us 2-0, therefore knocking West Ham out of the cup. Between Shrewsbury and Wigan, in the two games combined, we played 300 minutes of football against League One opposition, scoring 1 goal. This here is our brave and beautiful away fans. They witnessed this debacle, as I say, the team just lying down, rolling over, allowing Wigan to beat us 2-0, and the away supporters here, some 4,500 of them travelled up to Wigan for the game, given scant regard by the team or club. Back to you, Mike, at the studio. Thanks, Mike. Brilliant stuff again from the Tactics Centre, I'm sure you'll agree. Serial, a careless driver and sulk machine Diafra Sakho has finally left and signed for Rennes as of Monday morning anyway, looks like he has. And for approximately £8 million or £4.50 in a packet of crisps, if you believe the board. I don't believe the board on this, by the way. Also on the out this week, before the transfer deadline on Wednesday, we have Andre Ayew, Reece Oxford, Tony Martinez, who are all looking to either leave on sale or be loaned out, which means we're going to be left with almost no one left to play Palace on Tuesday. No one who can actually walk, let alone play a game of football anyway. But never mind, because just 20 minutes before I filmed this, I couldn't help but notice David Gold's brilliant quote, and I'm quoting here, David Gold, co-owner of West Ham, co-director of West Ham, quoted when asked if he was, how he felt about the abuse that he's getting. If he said, I'm quoting here, you should all be grateful for the success we've delivered. Well, David, let's get something clear. We need to define what the word success is here, because given that we are talking about a football club, that's West Ham, and I hope you do understand that they are indeed a football club, and we are football supporters of West Ham United, that club you co-own. Success generally means winning some matches and providing entertainment for all those people whose money you take so much for granted when they buy their season tickets, etc. Because if you don't wake up to that reality very, very soon, Mr. Gold, and of course Mr. Sullivan, next season that stadium's going to have a lot of empty seats. Now you all remember that there are 50,000 people on the waiting list for a season ticket. I'm sure you all remember that from the first season. And then it turns out, because we all had a chat and we were all getting emails to us like we were on the waiting list, and it turned out that the 50,000 people on the waiting list were the 50,000 people that already had season tickets, plus a couple of mates. So I'm really dubious about just exactly how many people we are going to end up with at the stadium next season. And a couple of things to find out about last week's show, by the way, because there's a few people, it was quite controversial. It has got a lot of comments, because I did really lay into David Sullivan in a big way, and he deserves it, let's face it. A couple of people were a little bit off about a few things, and one of the many misunderstandings was that Cloughton Hugh normally post a link to the show on Cloughton Hugh, and that they didn't post a link because it was anti-Sullivan, or anti-Sullivan, and they're seen as pro-Sullivan. I don't actually think they are pro-Sullivan. I just didn't send them the link. That's why I didn't go on Cloughton. I didn't send it to them. So just to make sure that they're not getting in trouble, because they're nice people. They are seen by some. I'm going to talk about Cloughton Hugh. I actually really like Cloughton Hugh. Now I know that some people think that they are seen as a mouthpiece of the club, and they do definitely have access to the club. But I think they're quite balanced and fair, and that is a hard thing to pull up with something as emotive as football amongst us supporters. And there are times when I get a little bit frustrated with them and go, I don't think that. But that's my opinion, and that's their opinion. We have to go with that, otherwise we sound like a really bad West Ham phone-in, which would look something like this. Hello and welcome to West Ham Radio. Our first caller is Dave from Essex. Listen, that David Gold, and that David Sullivan, they're bunkering this club right up the jack side with the raggy end of a pineapple. Well, thanks for your call, Dave. I love pineapples. They're tasty and healthy, though, Dave, if I was to receive one from you, I'd probably wash it first. Do remember that Mr. Sullivan and Mr. Gold are working tirelessly night and day to bring in new players to West Ham. Our second caller is Dave from Essex. Yeah, hello, Dave here from Essex, right down there. More on Arnie. Yeah, if he's so good, why isn't he dead? Well, thanks, Dave. Marko Arnautovic is indeed injured, not dead. They are very different things, Dave, but thanks so much for your call. Our next caller's on the line. I'm glad said Dave from Essex. Can you hear me, Dave? Bonjour, it is David from Essex, which is a place just outside Paris, where all the West Ham fans in France live. We have a question for Monsieur Gold at Monsieur Sullivan. Qu'est-ce que c'est? Maintenant, we ask, where are the new players? And we would like to know where the signings are. Well, thank you so much for your call, Monsieur Dave. David Sullivan is in fact working tirelessly night and day to bring in new signings to West Ham. We'll be back with more calls straight after these messages from our sponsor. Well, luckily, folks, you guys are much nicer than the average phone-in idiot. But, not everyone's so nice online. I really appreciate it when you leave comments below. Please keep doing that, or you can tweet me at WHU Mike, that's me, and make sure you follow me as well, because we are going to be doing a big competition next week, and more about that later actually, but it will be done. Even though I'll ask a question to win the prize here, you will have to be following me on Twitter to reply and enter the competition, so that'll be fun, won't it? So, But not everyone is as nice online as you guys are. Now, here's the thing. I was reading an article on The Guardian the other day about China that I know, look at me, I look like the sort of guy who reads The Guardian online, and I am the sort of guy that reads The Guardian online, right? And I read it, and the posts after, the comments after the article were just so rude. People just being so rude. And I read the article, and afterwards someone had commented and gone, it's a terrible country, it's a dictatorship and there's no real freedom. And then someone else under that posted, oh, long gone are the days of people growing rich on tea, now it's more of a democracy. Then after that someone has written, I love rich tea, it's my favourite biscuit. Then underneath that someone had written, China is an economic powerhouse and it's growing forward and moving, and there's more democracy and it's really great and all the rest of it. Then something underneath that written, rich tea's your favourite biscuit. How can that be your most favourite biscuit? It's so boring. And underneath that someone had written, oh, you idiot, just really outraged. You idiot, you simpering buffoon, I think you've forgotten about Tiananmen Square. And underneath that someone else had written, I've never had a Tiananmen Square. Are they nice? Are they any good for dunking? And underneath that someone had written, Dunking was the worst dictator China ever had. It just got ridiculous. So you guys are lovely and I really appreciate you sending in your questions. And please keep them coming. Regular watcher Ryan B asked a question. He asked, that's not Ryan A and not Ryan C, but Ryan B. Love you, Ryan. Thanks for contributing yet again. He asked, do I believe in God? Because surely only God can save us from the current injury crisis. Nice one, Ryan. Well, I'm not a believer in God. Now, here's a good story as well. A few weeks ago, I'd just woken up, come downstairs, and there was a knock at the door, and it was religious people. And I opened the door, I'm all bleary, I'd just woken up, because I live in leafy Hertfordshire. And I opened the door, and this bloke was like, we're here to save you. And I was like, crikey, what, is the house on fire or something? He's like, no, we are spreading the word of the Lord. And I was like, oh, was Trevor Brooking sent you around? Actually, I didn't say that. I thought about that later as a good response. But at the time, I just sort of went, oh, piss off, and shut the door, right? And I'm like, but ultimately, that's fine. The religious people, they go around and knock on the door, but who represents us? Non-believers, right? And that's what I want to know, and I think we should be allowed to do it as well. I think we should go round, I should take a friend with me and knock on someone's door, dun dun dun, and when they open, they go, hello, and I'd be like, oh, hi, are you religious at all? And then they would go like something like, yeah, well, me and my family are members of the Immaculate Receptionist Church of Immaculate Belief and Goodness. And you go, oh, right, so you are religious then? Right, yes, I am religious, very much so. Well, me and my friend here have come round to ask you if you've ever considered not bothering. And lots of reasons not to bother with religion. Here's the first, one of our magazines, it's called New Scientist. I think it explains everything. So in answer to your question, mate, no, I'm not religious, and I think that at the end of the day, it's going to be down to us rather than divine inspiration to save ourselves from everything going wrong, relegation, whatever. So there you go. And Mike Stringer, thanks so much for commenting, Mike. He asked, I'm just checking, well, because, no, yeah, Mike Stringer, who, oh, sorry, why are we so bad at set pieces? Mike's asked. Here's the answer for that one, Mike. The players aren't good enough, son. That's it. That's the only thing I think that the reason why we can't deliver. I mean, the amount of corners we have that don't get past the first defender, the amount of free kicks that are just sort of wasted, and the amount of times that the other team end up attacking our goal from our own set piece, our corner, especially corners, are terrifying. It happened last week, as Mike rightly pointed out, against Bournemouth, and it just amazes me that that we're so bad at them. But the reason is quite simple: we haven't got the players to deliver them. Nobes can occasionally deliver something decent. Lanzini can occasionally, but neither of them are what I'd call set piece deliverers, and we all know what happened to the last one. Is really good at that. He slithered off through the grass back to France. So there you go. Morgan replied that he said, "Oh, I see you finally learned how to spell centre." Now, the reason for that is, you probably know, we have graphics in the show. When he went to and I understand, and I got people moaning on forever about it, about the fact that tactics centre was spelled the American way. Now, I'll quickly tell you, I am actually what's known as dyslexic. A number of things about dyslexia. Number one, it's got to be one of the hardest words to spell in the entire world, and it's given to condition for people who can't spell and chronically can't spell. It's not a phrase I like, dyslexia. I was dyslexic when I was very young. And they try and make you feel better about it. And it's like, well, in fact, Mike, you are actually extremely clever, but you're just no way, your shape or form, you can express that cleverness. Oh, thanks very much for that. That's dyslexia for you. Simon, where can I buy? Oh yeah, well, you know, I mentioned it last week. There were protest T-shirts doing the rounds at the moment. Where can I buy the protest T-shirts? If you want to buy some of them, I'll put the link in below. Okay, so it's pretty dealt with that. And Phil McDonald, he said that this is what he thinks is going to happen in this transfer window. Now, Phil, this is horribly prophetic, I think. He said that what will happen is we'll end up with 2 big loan signings. We've got one, it's a few days left for the other one. And what will happen is, if they're rubbish, we just get rid of them. And if they're good, we'll buy them, and it will come out of next summer's transfer budget. Brilliant. That is exactly what will happen. That's what we call the Sully special, meaning that our net spend, according to Transfer Market, can actually double check this, it will be 13.75 million for the year. And in fact, less than that if you consider you got the sale of Diafra Sakho, Andre Ayew if he goes, etc., etc. People are very quick to say, especially the club, are very quick to say, oh, what about the wages? We brought in Joe Hart on massive wages. He doesn't play. And what about the money we spent on Mark Arnautovic? That's great, but we've got a load of money back in from selling players. It doesn't add up. We are being flipped to. The worst thing about this is, for me, the whole thing with the whole board thing, this is just another show about the board again, isn't it? But it is the transfer window. All eyes revert to the board during a transfer window, because they have the say in what goes, who goes and comes and whatever. Ultimately, I know and I fully understand that David Sullivan keeps saying that he's working tirelessly night and day to bring in new players to the club. The problem is, one, he shouldn't be doing it. We should have other people. I talked about this last week. I don't want to repeat myself, but there should be a number of other people helping out. May I volunteer? £100 a year plus expenses. Do you know what? I'll come and do it for you. And I'll form a little committee of West Ham people on a part-time salary on the expenses, right? And we will get our heads together and do a better job than you are. But then you don't really want Mr. Sullivan to spend any money, do you? But you might. If you do, and if you are seriously trying to deliver success here, then you need to communicate better with us. I've gone way off topic here, haven't I? Yeah, but I genuinely, thanks so much for that. Phil McDonald, you're bang on. That's exactly what will happen, I reckon. We'll get 2, maybe, a couple of loan signings, and yeah, if we do want to keep them, it comes out of next summer's transfer budget. That is nailed on, isn't it? Big week for us, of course, this week. We are at home to Palace on Tuesday. I should be going to the game. Say hi if you see me there. And make sure that if you can get to the boats, do go. Remember to book. It's free. But there will be a bucket there for Ireland, the fundraising going for that. And that is a fantastic thing for Hamish Chat to have done. Love you at Hamish Chat on that. And with the transfer window ends, surely somebody is going. We've got to bring in some players. We literally have no one left, and we're away at Brighton. Now, I was going to hope to go to the away game at Brighton, but I'm not going to be able to go now, and because I want to stay at home with my 2 kids. But I am going to take my 2 kids to watch Berkhamsted FC. I live in Berkhamsted, and Berkhamsted FC are top of their league, and they're playing a team that are second. Irresistible. Got to go and do that. If anyone lives in Berkhamsted and fancies coming along, let me know. I'll be back next week with another Mike on Monday. Really look forward to seeing you then. And if you like the show, please give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like the show, don't. Please do leave a comment, and we will address it. I'll try and get through as many as I can next week. Or you can tweet me at WHU Mike. And make sure you subscribe to this channel and the other Hamish Chat channel. And make sure you keep having a look at all the other stuff on the Hamish chat, I pop up on them. I did a preview last week for the Wigan game, and I unfortunately got the score right. And but you know what? That's what happens. And I will look forward to seeing you next week. And until then, come on, you Irons! Don't give up the hope. Don't give up the hope. Don't give up the hope. Come on, you Irons!
Ha ha ha!